Welcome everyone to another Linux internal live stream, and let's better start off with some coffee. Ah, man. Thing is, you might have noticed previously this live stream, the greatest fan of Rust and Cargo. Not. Rust, of course, the new, more memory-safe language that we soon take a closer look, and actually took a closer look already a little bit anyway. But so some days ago, running here my fine little distribution, I made the mistake of updating Rust because new Rust version didn't update it for 2 months or 3. Certainly should eventually update this, right? So, and then I noticed, of course, Firefox doesn't build anymore because, developing a memory type safe, new advanced state-of-the-art language just for Firefox and certainly other stuff. And why should this stuff work together? Didn't even make a video or live stream about this because I thought, YOLO, whatever, they certainly soon fix this. And as the latest Firefox release 79 is trickling out here, thought, hey, maybe I'm the first here trying to compile this stuff. But that didn't work out quite well. So the issue is, of course, they haven't fixed it. Anyway, so this issue is still the same since the latest Rust version. Somehow, like infrastructure, like travel or not so travel infrastructure stuff, being some build option stuff of embedded bitcode, no, and LTO are not incompatible. It should be a totally trivial thing, right? So what is this thing? So this apparently is, as far as I've seen, embedding directly the LLVM, the upstream low-level virtual machine that also Clang and Mesa uses, also used by Rust and many other stuff. So the bitcode, as you would expect also on GCC side, for LTO being link time optimization, so that not when you compile it like one file, like options.cc and webrender.cc and whatnot, that it's optimized in this single compile units, but whole program, meaning pre-processing this, pre-compiling this a little bit, but not yet optimizing this to bitcode, and then later at link time. This is why LTO link time. At link time whole program, and so it should be totally trivial, and I'm certainly not the only one. Here's also Arch Linux. It's like, I'm not the only one not making this stuff up. Here's also some link, wherever the link was, to 1.4.5 release note on LTO versus embed bitcode and bulid cargo, embed bitcode, whatever, noteworthy enough inside Rust block, yada yada, whatever, manual enabling LTO, whatever, some things like, anyway, this is, I've said this before, this is also my frustration, right? After 20 years, Barley can build KDE, Barley can build GNOME, Firefox, Rust and Cargo, and I really don't understand what, it's like nearly people in sort of nearly, if I wouldn't know it better, how can this stuff always be broken, right? I'm really not preferring, not liking, not trying to be as a role of the messenger. I was like, this is broken, that is broken, but this is, I really don't understand. After 30 years or so of open source, we could try to patch this. I've not, also, I got a new mainboard PC speaker for what it's worth. Also another thing, of course, it needed a new C-bind gen, the C-bind generating stuff for us, because obviously each release of Firefox needs a new C-binding generator thing. Apparently that is a thing. We built without tempfs, so we can actually, what was even also funny build systems, right? I think it was like Mach build or something. Maybe, let's see if we get the same thing. So the thing is, from my memories, I wonder why the upstream people haven't fixed this. Why here's also nothing really progressing. 24th of July Confirmed, yeah, thank you very much. Maybe it is as simple as enabling some bitcode equals yes, but the problem is, in the good old days, you could just see on a first glance where this makefile was erroring out. Nowadays, it's like, yeah, where is it even failing? So soon I need to get some stronger stuff here, maybe. Gin, whiskey, vodka, you name it. So what is failing is gcrust, whatever gcrust is. This G toolkit for Rust stuff, I have no idea. The issue is with this modern stuff, makefiles. With this modern stuff, it's not even an easy fix in terms of if you're working with this, then whatever. Here's, by the way, LTO. I mean, the funny thing is Rust flex override developer option. I wonder actually whether we can try, when we're building with enable release mode, we add an additional check to confirm that we're not importing any networking related functions in Rust code. This reduces the chance of proxy bypass originating from Rust code. The check only works Rust code built with LTO. So apparently we also need, as we've just learned, mbed bitcode. The question is only, well, one thing is, of course, we could maybe, where's even the LTO? Is it that? Or what is that? Last library file, cargo Rust. Here's something, gtest Rust. So I mean, we could try to maybe YOLO this and just like say goodbye to link time optimization, and maybe this magically works around that. Another thing would of course be really enable this, which would mean enable bitcode, but or embed bitcode, but the problem is where to specify it in some cargo file, or that probably should be Rust. But I mean, it's continuing, right? So apparently maybe, I know we didn't really save it the right way. Run tests pass. So yeah, apparently it's, well, a workaround is as easy as commenting this few characters. The other question is embed bitcode, maybe set that. Let's see, tuck if something, I have no idea. Also Rust, I mean, it looks like maybe that or that, I have no idea. Anyway, let's maybe write this to a new file, because I think I VI'd it near div that to a new unified. It's slightly messed up, I just fix this in Rust LTO patch. Let's just manual, we're huge fans of why save it again and whatnot when we can just, so that would be from LTO to set embed bitcode. Let's build it maybe completely again, or we can, you know what, let's, it's probably install, let's cd in there again, let's, I hope it's noch install, but yeah, freaking build systems for 100. Who cares, right? Firefox has often problems with Rust using nightly triggered eyes from time to time. Yeah, for me it's like extremely frustrating. Didn't even install or something, or what? What installer did it? That looks strange. Okay, fine, whatever. Let's build it again, but it's so, I mean, the Rust people tell us that is the future and everything is amazing, and each time we build it, let's, does it come back? I have no idea. Not really sure if, it didn't really look like this installed something. Of course, NT2, it's hidden behind this, nice. But it's 79, then it installed something. Oh, that is certainly what, why did it, also maybe I edited this file wrong, so much to, let's just quickly edit this to yeah, for me it's really frustrating with all the big vendors and Firefox and stuff that it doesn't build, and we constantly, not making this stuff up. Previously, people never believed me when sharing this open source gossip and notes here, but now we document this here live on YouTube. Some other thing is, so let's see if that builds. Obviously, I've not tested this before. Let's see. We will see soon. While we wait for this, which isn't that long on this epic thread ripping AMD Ryzen, what would my password be? Certainly not that, but maybe that. I built here for the last live stream Matrox Pahelia super old Linux 2631 or so yesterday, and I wanted to share one data point. It would have maybe something been for a freestanding video, but maybe too many random live streams are too many random live streams. But building his Linux kernel, so well, fun fact, we could theoretically do this live, but I can also show you just the log file. If you take a log file var adm package Linux, so Linux 2.6, maybe ignoring the last might be, oh no, it isn't. Yeah, so the Linux kernel, previous video, compiler on the IBM PowerPC RS RISC System 6000 B50, when I mentioned in this video GCC became 3 times slower for marginally 5% maybe faster code. And yeah, look at this, compiling here on the same AMD epic thread-ripping Ryzen 1350X here with our, you see it, 32 threads. And I'm not making this up, so I'm not fantasizing that like a decade ago, well, certainly a decade ago, you could build stuff quite fast on, say, an AMD Athlon 64 X2 or something, with a 6000 Pentium rating thing there with 3000 megahertz. And when you nowadays see, of course, on a Ryzen 1350X here, previous video, the kernel takes 6 to 7 minutes to build here, which certainly is okay. Before that, 20 minutes on an Ryzen 2700 or an hour on an AMD Phenom or something, or in yesteryear's Core i7 5000. But look at this Linux 2.6, 33 even maybe, yeah, 1 minute 1 minute 10 or so here. So much to how much code, how much bloat, how much slower compiler, because that here, of course, with this decade-old installation for the Matrox Pahelia driver there last night's live stream. So GCC 4.5, not as old as a 3 something on the IBM B50, but just some data points, right? This is 1 minute to 6.5 minutes. So yeah, there you have it in terms of, and certainly it is much nicer to develop, especially big software like Fire. Look at this Firefox, right? Imagine you work on Firefox there in the Firefox Foundation, or Google, Apple, Microsoft, and all the vendors of WebKit-based stuff, of KHTML Conqueror-based stuff. And yeah, waiting here. I think Firefox, yeah, this is also why I got the 1350X, because build time and certainly Rust micro dependencies, can't make this stuff up here only live on YouTube. Toml, Rust, SQLite, RVK, and maybe 100, who knows. Many micro dependencies, at least the 32 threads are busy. But yeah, just some data points, so much to, certainly 20 years ago in 600 megahertz AMD K6 was sufficient to build the stuff. Then an AMD X2 6000 plus was enough to build the stuff. Now you sit here with an epic thread-ripping AMD Ryzen 1350X with an yeah, 7 minutes for kernel, and yeah, we are 4 minutes. In this time, yeah, fun fact, in this time, 4 minutes 30, you would have already built the Linux kernel with all the 10,000 of drivers 12 years ago. Let's see, I think we're approaching this previous build error. And yeah, with this kind of load and compilers, no less. Actually, one more data point. If, in case you're wondering, I just saw here, scrolling by Phoronix of all sites, and he found also that apparently maybe even this option that we're using here. So I'm mostly building generic, aka not optimized for this CPU, and also yeah, Firefox 79 here on the bleeding edge of just compiling that. Here GCC with an unexpected surprise, and I'm building it mostly generic because when I take this SSD, mostly working off, unless I build on build server stuff here, but if I build on my personal workstation rig here, mostly building unoptimized so that I can take this SSD, plug it into anything else. I mentioned this a couple of times already, and then I also want to be able to plug it in yesteryears or yesterdecades machines, like the last night's Matrox Pahelia test setup. So this is exactly this setup, and so in case you were wondering why is this stuff so slow, and yeah, this 1350X is busy, as you see, 32 threads running Rust. He found here that just O2 generic on AMD 64 is just a combination that is particularly slow here. That is O2, what is it here? So that is better. What is it even? O through native LTO. Yeah, so apparently LTO, this, yeah, can't make this stuff up. So I'm not only the only one finding regressions, but when I then say, hey, look, this stuff is slow, like on the Octane, same thing. Previous video last year, working on the Octane, having here some vintage fun, and yeah, certainly if you have money, you can buy the latest and greatest thread wrapping epic stuff. You can just throw 32 cores on it, but if you build on an IBM R6K SJ Octane, and you sometimes want to build something locally, which I already avoid with cross-compiling, but yeah, downgraded compiler GCC for a little bit, like just like from what was it? Probably what could that have been? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It was a couple of major versions. It was 25% faster. So when you compile Perl, instead of 30 minutes or 40 minutes, it takes 10 minutes less or something. But yeah, O2 apparently, yeah, much slower here, as you can see, Skymark, and LTO also not the most amazing, and exactly what we recently benchmarked, previous video, also with Clang and Musel, where I didn't came out the most impressed, and I'm somewhat relieved that I'm not the only one who is too stupid to use it and has this bad luck and certainly compiling it wrong. But yeah, interesting find here from Phoronix. I probably should have benchmarked a couple of more options, but at least it's good to see that I'm not the only one who is wondering what the stuff is doing. And given these numbers, I have to wonder what kind of release engineering and QA, quality assurance, they're doing. Anyway, let's see. I guess we are in probably 10 minutes should be here through, and then who cares, writes LLVM components from packages Gentoo were made independently. What? No, I have problems with LLVM since the enforcing builds from monorip and packages in Gentoo were made to build. Yeah, I wonder how this is working. I also noticed you need to be careful. I once updated, so if you have like single components, LLVM and Clang, and you only update one, you can break the other. So if your system compiler is Clang and you just build LLVM, depending on what kind of combination you build, you can easily end up with some mismatching and misbehaving binaries. And have not yet looked into this mono repository thing. I hope they continue to release single release tarballs like LLVM, Clang, and compiler RT, and LLD and LLDB. for the sake of, if you only need one, you only need to build one, so that you can like compile 10 minutes for LLVM instead of 30 minutes for all of that gang of 7 or something. But anyway, who cares, also uses O2 everywhere. Historically I mostly used OS because it didn't matter much, and sometimes OS was even faster for better cache utilization. Probably I have to change this. I already changed this a little bit, probably for the most part, since GCC is using C++, and maybe apparently GCC becomes significantly slower due to the use of C++, and maybe templates, whatever, algorithms didn't take too much of a look what advanced stuff they're using there. But we've seen this with LLVM Clang in the whole LLVM Clang video some month ago, where LLVM Clang was not the best performing, when I then found out that not only size optimization with LLVM Clang produces significantly slower code, certainly smaller, but significantly slower. And second of all, with LLVM Clang being such a C++ code base, if you build it with OS for size optimization or OSET for even more Clang size optimization, then your whole compiler slows down a lot due to size and not speed optimization. So yeah, so much to that. But yeah, O2, I have to say, I don't really remember the last decades O3 miscompiling stuff, although I also didn't use it the most. But for me, compiling as much as you see here live on this channel, it is not worth it to optimize more if I rebuild every other day something anyway. But what, lost sound? I hope not. Wouldn't surprise me with pulse audio, but status active, check 1, 2, 3, no, looks like sound. Maybe not on my end, but that would also be a relief that I'm not the only one where pulse audio is sometimes acting up. Yeah, better slower than broken, same here. At Rock Linux times, Claire Wolf did some fancy thing, being smart optimization. This was probably even the time before profiler guided optimization were a thing, and we still have this in T2 as fork of Rock Linux. What this is doing is that we theoretically have a database, aka glorified text file, so like ASCII text database, from running oprofile on your whole system and mapping what kind of code, like when you work, when you compile, when you browse the internet, so like collecting a sample, basically pre-collecting a database of profile guided optimization in terms of what files are even used. So mind you, we have done this in 2003, right? So much to novel stuff we have done at Rock Linux. And maybe I resurrect this. So I've not used it and touched it in 15 years. Maybe it still works, maybe it doesn't, I have no idea, whatever. But maybe I resurrect this and use smart optimization, so that what this is doing is on a per file basis on your whole distribution, and also in the database, like pre-computed and distributed for users, so that you don't need to run profile guided stuff, but it's stored in the master repository, or actually the main, not master repository, so that yeah, everything is built with size, because it's not run anyway, because yeah, exotic features that nobody ever got to use, and the stuff like compiler, main loop, linker, main loop, terminal, xorg server, graphic driver, Linux kernel, Firefox, all the main files like web renderer stuff and whatnot, is then also only those files dynamically built with O2 or whatever you want, and all the other stuff is size that in terms certainly with the compilers using C++ and requiring a little bit more optimization than OS for size might actually be a good thing. Maybe we do this sometime soon. Anyway, Paul Schulte started to use OSET. Yeah, so the thing is with OSET, I probably will also change this. There you see or never-ending story actually, running a distribution, and there it failed again so much to but unknown debugging option. So much to that. That is why I've rerun this, never commit something. But yeah, never ending story, there's always something to do. I probably add support also for smaller, aka set, which obviously only works with Clang, to T2, but maybe even more interesting on a broader scale is smart optimizations. That probably could be a cool thing. Anyway, yeah, let's see if we can YOLO that here. Now we already closed our browser. Let's see what VI. Let's see what this option would be. That is the thing of, yeah, sounds easy to fix but isn't. What is it not in there? Rust make LTO it was. Here it is, embed bytecode. Slightly wonder, does it work like that? Does it work? No, guess no. So much to that. Yeah, if you happen to know what this option is, let me know. Crates. To compare Rust sources to use emit source. Yeah, so much to clear documentation. They could have really I added a bullet point for use of, since this was even block, importantly. Maybe here's a link to the blog post, GitHub, Rust issue. Compatible with the new embed bytecode now. This may cause LTO enabling through Rust flags. Array to control cargo profiles. Did they not promise us a block here? Embed bitcode. Not really the highest hopes. Can we? I mean, I could also patch our Rust, although maybe that's not the best long-term solution. C inlib no are incompatible. Okay. Maybe then like that. But you see an amazing forest of options that is totally easy to navigate. Unknown code gun option. What the heck do they even document here? Passing LTO with Rust flags instead of setting cargo toml. Also, yeah, it's a recommended approach, just not what Firefox is using. If it would not be so sad, it would be hilarious. LTO, so... Oh, wait a second, we also wanted, yes, did I not update this? Apparently not the only people who have set build standard, what? Looking rusty bootstrap, something. Try to change cargo to approach instead of passing C-linker. Plug in LTO. Well, they write here this appears to work. Maybe they removed this option just recently too. This is so bizarre. But wasn't it nice when we still had what option incorrect? Oh, now it does something. What have I done now differently? That did I had something, or was it emit versus embed? Failed to get bitcode for LTO. 7.9 is apparently just getting out in this minute or something, but yeah, we are here on the forefront of technology. So easiest found was cargo config in the root of the project embed. Not really sure if here's some cargo config. So this workaround will make this product not built unstable. Embed bitcode. What? You know what? I have the idea. Is not stable. It's also recommended to use Toml instead of. But yeah, you see Rust, totally easy peasy stuff, totally non-confusing, straightforward. Totally not ever changing, totally stable. What embed bitcode was renamed bitcode in what embed bitcode was renamed, no, the other way around. What the heck are you freaking, you really try to confuse the heck out of me. Maybe this is the issue then, that we are using a stable release, and that is why. Wait a second, let's document this better. Let's see if that does something. Unknown option. Darn. The flag changed in nightly, so let's rename it here in cargo 2 to get our CI parsing enabled at the same time avoiding bitcode. Okay, fine. You know what? I think without LTO it is for me. This is too stupid for me, to be honest. What a waste of time. Or is this, you know what, this is cargo Rust C-flags. Do we also have Rust C-flags or cargo Rust C-flags? Man. Anyway, that's life of a distribution maintainer. It's probably why you don't want to run your own. Wait a second, failed to get bitcode from object file for LTO. Is this not a slightly failed to get bitcode from object file for... Oh, wait a second, this error is another though. Maybe we... Oh, wait a second, maybe we messed something up. Where is now the... Maybe I once had a typo there. Library toolkit, so where we... What was it, GK Rust or something? So release stuff, can we... let's hope that builds. Who knows if that regenerates the stuff? To run unknown command. Oops. What would clean be? Build clobber. Clobber the tree deletes the object. Okay, clobber. Why should it be clean if it can be clobber, you might ask? Does this build or need to reconfigure? This reconfigures though, unfortunately. Anyway, let's hope that configures the same way, who knows with this complex stuff. Anyway, I guess that's enough. We need to live stream now. Whatever the best resolution for this is, not sure if this embed bytecode stuff does a thing. But if it doesn't, then I will simply build without LTO, because I have also better things to do than researching this chaos that is Rust and Cargo, ever-changing stuff of apparently made for Firefox, except when it's out of sync. Recurring theme here. Live on this channel. I hope you learned something, and don't forget to share, like and subscribe for all the next videos and live streams to come.